Horning was back on foot and hiding out somewhere in the immense Grand Canyon National Park. He had vowed to kidnap a family with children.
Come on guys, let's go.
To stop him, the FBI brought in their elite hostage rescue team, known as the HRT. The HRT agents blanketed the area, rappelling into the canyon, checking caves and conducting aerial searches. They had to find the suspected killer before he had the chance to kill again. Search teams from the FBI, the Arizona Department of Corrections, and local sheriff's departments trailed fugitive Danny Ray Horning through Grand Canyon National Park. They mobilized dozens of officers, tracking dogs, and helicopters in the effort to find Horning before he kidnapped more hostages. But the accused killer could have been anywhere in the immense park's 1.2 million acres. Because of the danger Horning presented to tourists, the FBI decided to close the Grand Canyon National Park for the July 4th weekend. It was a major undertaking. The holiday is the park's busiest weekend of the year. It was also the first time in the park's 73-year history that it had been closed due to a criminal threat. But Horning was dangerous enough to warrant the extreme action, according to FBI Special Agent Keith Tolhurst.
He was moving around inside the canyon, and we couldn't control that because there was too many people in the canyon. So we were going to try to start getting everybody through the roadblocks and try to find him.
New visitors were turned away, and those already in the park were asked to leave. Police set up roadblocks at entry and exit points around the Grand Canyon. They searched vehicles and informed motorists of Horning. But they didn't stop him in time. On July 4th, 2 British tourists were preparing to leave the park when an armed man approached them. They knew it was Danny Ray Horning, though he no longer looked like the photos in news reports. He was much thinner, had blonde hair, and was clean-shaven. Since the park had been locked down, the women were Horning's only way out. At a roadblock, a ranger stopped the car and spoke to the 3 inside. Horning had threatened to kill the women if they tipped off anyone.
I know you guys all know each other.
The kidnapped women had to act calm as Horning sat with a gun trained on them. The officer didn't recognize the blonde-haired Horning and let them through. Once they were out of the park, he forced them to drive 60 miles south to Williams, Arizona. When they were far from the police in the Grand Canyon, Horning ordered them to stop the car. Brandishing his gun, he marched the terrified women into the cover of the woods. The women believed that Horning was taking them there to execute them. To their relief, he left them there, fleeing in their car. The women managed to free themselves and ran to a store. A clerk there called authorities and was told an officer was nearby. The women were badly shaken but unharmed.
Ladies, are you okay? For me.
They provided police with updated information about Horning, including his new look and his getaway vehicle.
We had put a description of the car out that the women had stolen from them, and a DPS officer spotted that car going from the Grand Canyon towards Phoenix.
Highway Patrolman Stephen Costello works for the Arizona Department of Safety. When Horning drove past, he began following the armed fugitive. It wasn't long before it became more than a car chase.
I hear a great big old bang, and I thought it was something wrong with the car. I looked at the gauges, all as well. At that particular time, I realized I'd been shot at. And I notified my dispatcher at that time that I'd been shot at, that I was all right, and I was going to follow him.
The gunfire forced the patrolman to keep his distance.
He's going to be taking the ramp at...
But he knew he couldn't lose Horning.
17.
The fugitive tried to make a getaway by turning off near the town of Sedona.
He takes the ramp, and I could see that he slammed on the brakes, and he skids in, and he has a slight accident is what he does. He hits a sign. I shouted out, you know, you better stop.
The shot missed. The officer had orders not to follow Horning into the woods. When backup arrived, agents and officers began a grid search of the area. Again, Horning couldn't be found. After nightfall, a lead was called into the command post. A resident said he saw Horning drinking from a garden hose in a neighborhood near Sedona. A Border Patrol agent responded to the call. As far as anyone knew, Horning was still armed. This time, there was no shootout. After being relentlessly pursued for 54 days and over hundreds of miles, an exhausted Horning simply gave up.
No doubt in my mind that because of the efforts of the teams that had been chasing him, that they had basically run him into the ground.